Ooh, this is a scary hold your breath moment. Are you ready for the Fed's meeting tomorrow? The Federal Reserve is having a 2-day meeting. Part 1 today, part 2 tomorrow. And we're going to find out by 2:15 tomorrow what the Fed has to say, what they're thinking about tapering their bond buying program, maybe raising interest rates. And all of a sudden, it seems like the whole economy, the stock market, your retirement, it seems all of a sudden everything is hanging in the balance. We're going to go over a few strategies, what to do, how to handle this. Just calm down. Our lives don't depend on what happens tomorrow with the Federal Reserve. But it does give us something to think about and something to do, and something very important to always remember. So we're going to go over a whole bunch of things today. The market, inflation, producer price index came out today, much higher than expected. Things are hot right now in the economy. And should the economy function on its own without the Federal Reserve pumping $120 billion of cash every month into the economy? So let's get started. We're going to roll a quick intro. We've got a couple of important things to talk about, and we're going to go over strategy, what you should do if you're in your 50s or 60s, if you're younger, if you're in individual stocks, exchange-traded funds, etc. We've got a lot of things to talk about, and I want to do it fast. So here we go. Ask questions if you have any in the comments. I love hearing from you. And if you're watching this in the replay, welcome to you as well. Certainly ask me any questions you have as if you're watching this in the replay, and I will definitely see your questions. I'll definitely get back to you. Here we go. All right, we're back. If you're just joining me now, my name is Mitch Goldberg. You're watching my live stream called Be the Boss of Your Money. It's a money show. It's about personal finance, investing, credit, the economy, etc. And I want you to be the boss of your money. In other words, I want you to take control. Your money can take control of you. It happens all the time. It's very easy to happen. We need to reverse that. And so, so you can take control of your money, be the boss of your money. Questions, folks, in the comments. You know the drill. Watching in replay, same thing. Questions in the comments. We're going to do a quick review with the perspective that I'm going to pump into this live stream. I'm pretty pumped up. We have like a lot to talk about. I mean, should we be scared? Boo on the Fed. Is the Fed going to knock all of our profits down and just flush everything down the toilet? No, I don't think so. But we do need to discuss what happens. We need to discuss, allergies. We need to discuss what can happen. We need to discuss where we're going with this. I was out yesterday. I took the day off from the live stream. I went to an event yesterday evening. It was fantastic. Great to get together with so many friends in person. It was literally like it was like a 3-hour hug fest. It was just an incredible time. Great to see everybody. And, I know a few of you are out there already, so I'm going to be saying hello. First and foremost, I want to give a huge, great shout out to my great friend, Jack Cohen. Jack, great day yesterday at the outing. So great to see you, man, and nice to meet your friend Stan. Jack, you lost so much weight. You were in such good shape. I think you need to update your profile picture on LinkedIn and let everybody see how good you look, man. So great to see you. Just want to give you a special shout out because you're always so supportive of my live stream efforts, my content creation efforts, and you always talk to me about it. And it means a lot to me. It really does. I get all giddy. Jay is out there. Toilet humor. Jay, does that mean I have a little bit of a hold on. Does that mean I have a little bit of a potty mouth? Ooh. I'm so freaking clever and funny. It's killing me. Let's take it to the share screen and see what the market looks like today. I'll pop myself up here in the corner. Boom, I'm up here. I'll make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see this on your smartphones. All right, make it 200%. Hopefully you can see that. The Dow off a measly 94 points. NASDAQ off 101 points, but it was up a lot yesterday. Hit a new record yesterday. S&P hit a new record yesterday. So it's off 8 points. Basically, today was a very benign day. Gold was recently about $1,910. Now it's $1,860, off another $5 today. Not the end of the world. Oil continues to go higher in the 70s. I know a lot of people making a lot of money in oil stocks. One of my oil stocks that I talk about, which is Chevron, hasn't done a whole hell of a lot, but the dividend's pretty good, I guess. But oil has been a huge winner this year, and it just goes to show you, don't give up on any sectors. This is why we diversify, right? Diversification, it's a strategy that we use to reduce risk, but it doesn't necessarily protect your portfolio from going down in a generally down market. Okay, the 10-year Treasury continues to stay under 1.5%. VIX up a drop at 17. What are we talking about? Are we talking about inflation? Let's keep going, okay? We'll look at which stocks gained during the Fed's infamous taper tantrum should it happen again. So this guy here, you see this guy, Jerome Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve. He's getting all the attention tomorrow. We need to listen to what he has to say. I think he's a very good chairman of the Federal Reserve. They're dealing with a lot of stuff coming in, a lot of things that they have to do, and they have a lot of people to please, namely, 315 million some odd American citizens. Okay, but he's going to be talking tomorrow. Does he see the inflation that we all see as still transitory? That's the big word, transitory. Or does inflation become anchored where it's no longer transitory but permanent? I was having a discussion with a friend of mine over at CNBC, my friend Eric, and we talked about wage inflation, and I said, a lot of the wage inflation you're seeing isn't really higher wages. A lot of it is, bonus money, sign-on bonuses, benefits, things like that. And those don't necessarily get factored into long-term wage push inflation. And as more people come back into the economy and as states stop paying the extra unemployment, the federal unemployment bonus, I shouldn't call it a bonus, but stimulus, I should call it, that will probably bring more people into the workforce. And as it gets more competitive to get a job, there'll be less incentives for people to join in the fun. Let's, on a somber note, let's say a little prayer time when we go to bed tonight. More than 600,000 people have died from COVID in the U.S. as officials race to vaccinate more people. Personally, I am double vaxxed. I'm glad I am, and to each his own. I don't want to make this a political show, but I feel like that's what it's become when you talk about vaccinations. But about half the country is vaccinated. That is a very big help. But point is, 600,000 people. And if you think about 600,000 people and everybody knows at least 20 other people, that is 12 million people directly affected. And it's probably a lot more than that. So it's a pretty sad day, very sad milestone. So say a little prayer tonight before you go to bed, please. Inflation. All right. Most professional investors agree with the Fed on inflation. In a Bank of America survey, most professional investors, institutional investors, think that inflation is transitory. By the way, I think that also. I think the big bump up we're seeing in prices, I do think that moderates a lot. It might not go back to where things were, prices for a lot of goods in 2019, but I do think they come back down a bit. Never underestimate the capacity of the global economy, of China, of Australia, of the United States, of everybody, to mine and manufacture like crazy rapidly when there's demand. Okay, U.S. markets, we covered that already. And I just want to show you a quick chart of lumber. Okay, this is lumber. This is lumber. Okay, this is a 3-month chart of lumber. As you can see, it's come down quite a bit. But in the last year, you see it's gone up quite a bit. So does lumber go back down to where it was a year ago? It's really tough to say. I mean, I think we get more lumber. Will it come down? No. But the problem now is that if you can't get it, that would be a bigger problem than just paying higher prices, because builders are still able to pass along the extra costs of building a home to new home buyers. So we'll see how that goes. But that's one data point. I know it's a big data point, but we can't just look at one data point. It is coming off a lot from its top, and I don't see a reason why that would stop at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share screen. Just want a couple of quick acknowledgments. Jay, okay, I got you, buddy. Jack, thanks so much. You're the best. Filippo, Fed uses oil to hide inflation. They like to blame oil for higher prices for goods. I mean, this is one of the reasons, though. This is one of the reasons why the Fed gives you two numbers for inflation. They give you the raw number, and then they take out inflation, food and energy, to give you the refined number. When we're speaking of oil, I guess I could say refined, right? That's a good word in there. I'll just go with that. Yeah. Okay. Giving myself some applause. So I don't think they're using oil as a crutch or to blame anyone. I mean, oil is up a lot, and I don't think anyone is, saying that it's. I don't think anyone's trying to pull the wool over your eyes and saying it's not. So isn't copper a better gauge of inflation than looking at gold? I feel like people look at gold because that's what people used to look at. Thoughts? Okay, yeah, my thoughts is that I'm a holder of gold in a lot of accounts. I'm a believer in gold in a very small way. From the time I put this into accounts, it's up a little bit. It hasn't been a particularly good hedge against inflation. But look at bonds. Look at the 10-year Treasury yield below 150. I mean, 4 months ago, we watched the 10-year Treasury go to 1.75, and everyone's expecting 2.5%. Some even say 3% by the end of the year. And now people are wondering if we even can get back to 2% by the end of the year, get up to 2% by the end of the year. So, a lot of people are not really believing the grounded or durable inflation story. And the market's telling you that, I think, in terms of the bond market, the gold market. I know a lot of people looking at crypto. You're very welcome, Filippo, and thank you very much for watching. I love the pictures and the videos of your trip to Florida. I felt like I was there, and I feel like you're so on the fence to moving to Florida right now. I wouldn't blame you if you did. Just one word of advice: if you're going to do it while you're young, before kids, before family. That's the time to give it a shot, when it's all on you and it's just not such a risky move. Okay, that's my brotherly advice to my very good friend. Okay, so what I'm going to say is this: we need to talk about a couple of things and what you should do if we have inflation. All right. So the FOMC meeting, that's the Federal Open Market Committee meeting. That's the part of the Federal Reserve when they meet every 6 weeks. Not every bank president. There's 12 branches of the Fed, and then there's the DC branch. Not every one of them gets a vote. They rotate the votes. The New York president and of the New York Federal Reserve branch and the Federal Reserve head, now Powell, they always get a vote, but the votes rotate. But the FOMC meets tomorrow, second day of a 2-day meeting, and we'll know what they're up to by 2:15. And what we expect them to say is, we still think inflation is transitory. We still expect it to moderate in the third quarter of this year. However, we are prepared to act if necessary by trimming the amount of bonds we buy. So the Fed buys $120 billion worth of bonds every month. They buy $80 billion worth of treasuries, $40 billion worth of mortgage bonds. And they do that to keep long-term interest rates tamped down. And that's how that money that they spend, they don't really print it. What they do is they create electronic credits and they put the money into banks. And then the banks could either lend it or hold on to it or, get that money into circulation. A lot of that money, by the way, does not go into circulation. You can't force the banks to lend it, but you could make it very painful for the banks to hold on to the money by charging them fees and things like that on the money. Okay. So you think you're getting feed to death by your bank? The Federal Reserve also hits banks with certain fees and other things to try to push or induce certain behaviors. Okay, so different strategies for different groups. Retail sales today were a little weak. Industrial production was it was meh. And the big thing has been, this is one of the things we talk about for a long time, reopening stocks, the industrial, financial, building materials, that sort of thing, economically sensitive stocks versus the stay-at-home, work-from-home stocks. And you can see the work-from-home, stay-at-home stocks got pounded recently. And now they're coming back strong. In the meantime, the industrial stocks and the bank stocks went up a lot. And now those stocks are coming off pretty quickly. The thing with industrial stocks is when they do back off, they tend to back off a lot and pretty quickly. If you're in individual stocks and you're not doing something, I'm not saying you should become a day trader, but if you're not doing something to at least take some money off the table after the run in industrials and other economically sensitive stocks, and if you didn't do something to take some of the money out of the growth stocks that went up during the pandemic, you're doing something wrong. And if you're a financial advisor and you're thinking you are feeling like a genius and all your clients are thinking you're great at what you do now because their accounts are up, if you don't act to either rebalance, reconfigure, speak with your clients about the risks that they're taking and make sure you get things in their accounts back in line, then you're just another dope who just rode the market up and rode it down. And it was all a mirage. You really weren't smart. You were just lucky. It was just the market. So you better do something and think of a strategy that could work for you. If you don't have a strategy, you're welcome to reach out to me and talk to me about a strategy, and I'll tell you what I do. All right. So strategies for different groups. So if you are in individual stocks, especially if you're in like the aggressive stuff, like super speculative stocks, like meme stocks, you need to take a look at how big your portfolio is, how big your portfolio is, how far your portfolio has come. And you need to at least consider the possibility of the stock market reversing and having a substantial correction. And you have to think about, will these stocks that I have be the ones that recover in the next up market, in the next bull market? And you don't want to be in that position where saying, hey, I bought a stock that really wasn't such a great company, but it did great because the economy was on fire for the last couple of months because of the reopening. But unless we have another hot reopening, I don't know if the stock is going to do well again. I don't know if the underlying company is going to do so well again. You might want to consider at least trimming some of your gains from that stock. And what I'm doing and I think this is most important for clients, and I'm going to say that, 62 to 72 age cohort is I'm doing some trimming in these portfolios. I'm doing some trimming in some individual stocks that they're up a lot. And one of them, we were talking like, I can't believe you're selling that particular bank stock. I mean, we've had it for like 10 years. We've done so well on it. And I'm like, yeah, but you're 10 years older. Do you remember that? You're 10 years older. Your risk tolerance has gone down while your stock holdings have gone way up. There's an inconsistency there, and it's got to be rectified. And your bond portion needs to be upped, or your cash position needs to be upped. So these are the kinds of things that I'm doing for certain clients. Younger clients, 20s, 30s, 40s, even 50s, not such a big worry. We're not just in industrial or bank stocks. We're still very diversified. We're still in lots of other kinds of stocks, exchange traded funds as well. So what we're doing is we're just sitting tight. Maybe we'll rebalance, but we're sitting tight. I'm not really making such aggressive moves because even if we correct, the stock market goes down and we see the Dow drop from 34,000 to 25,000. Eventually we'll probably be at 40,000 or 44,000 on the Dow. That's just the way the markets work. That's what we expect. So it really depends on your age, your time horizon, your risk tolerance. And just because you're older doesn't mean you have a very low risk tolerance. Just because you're younger doesn't mean you have a high risk tolerance. But the idea is to make sure you're in a portfolio that can meet your needs for near-term financial obligations while meeting your needs to potentially stay ahead of inflation and give you growth so that you could pay your bills when you are actually older and have other bills like healthcare bills. Okay, so that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Okay. We got Filippo out there. If you have any more questions, hit me up in the comments after we wrap things up. But let's do some Barney Says. We'll wrap it up like this. Fed meets tomorrow. It's not the end of the world. But if you are nervous about it, and I am not nervous about what the Fed may or may not do, not in the least, because we're prepared for it. And if you're nervous about what the Fed does, and that's going to like ruin your retirement, that's going to ruin your year, it's going to ruin your plans for something important to you, you're doing something wrong. The stuff that we talk about on TV and the Fed and all that, that you see all the time, it's exciting, it's fun. And a lot of the people you see talking about this are people who manage institutional portfolios. They could change their mind on a dime. This has nothing to do with a individual investor preparing for for retirement, or to send their child to college, or to stay in retirement comfortably. All right. I said my piece. I'm going to go. The music's playing, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining me. Your time is very valuable, and I greatly appreciate that you chose to spend some of it with me. See you then.